All right, let's talk about what went wrong with Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Mayfield obviously played really well the first 2 weeks. Week 1, he lit up the scoreboard. Week 2, maybe not lighting up the scoreboard, but still had a lot of key plays in that game in a situation where things weren't going particularly well for him on every single snap. And then this game happened, and to be honest, it was just a complete mess offensively. So what went wrong? How was Denver able to really shut down this Buccaneers passing attack? Well, let's start off with the play you see on your screen. It's going to be a man coverage play, and so, okay, for Tampa Bay, they have no issues with this. In fact, they have a concept that's designed to beat this. That's what they're going to do, where Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are going to be the decoys, running more over the middle. They didn't have Trey Palmer running the route towards the top of the screen. You hit him with the traffic over the middle. The player who's covering Palmer has a long way he has to go, and hopefully you can just pick up the first down on a 3rd and 7. However, when this play begins, you see Mayfield's going to make this throw, but look at how covered this is. I mean, it's at the point where this still frame, you can't even tell there's a Buccaneers player there. It looks like there's just a Denver Broncos player there. I mean, he got over there so quickly. That's Riley Moss. Got to give him some credit. Doing a great job of getting over here. As you see, also knocks that ball away. But even if it was caught, it wasn't going to be a first down. He would have been able to make the tackle prior to the first down. Granted, 4th and 1s are almost always being go for it seems like, in today's NFL. But still, really good coverage here. This is a lot of what we saw from Denver was good coverage. In fact, this next play is probably one of the better examples you'll see. In fact, there's a good amount of plays like this, to be honest, but this is one of the plays where this would happen. Mayfield takes the snap. He's going to look, and he has time right here all day. In fact, he moves a little bit outside the pocket to give himself a little bit more time, but I mean, this is well into the play. This is over 5 seconds into play. He's looking downfield, and nothing is open. On top of this, when Mayfield tries to run, there's Denver players right in his face, and he ends up getting tackled right around the line of scrimmage. Because again, Mayfield does like to extend plays and does like to use his legs if the original play isn't working, but Denver was ready for that as well. So it all starts with coverage. If you can cover well, no quarterback is going to look good, and Denver was covering in an incredible way. Like this play was another one, kind of very similar to that first play I showed you, where again, it's man coverage. It's going to be a designed pick. Evans is the guy who's running the pick here, so trying to get a tight end open. Again, on paper makes sense, and especially on a play like this, it's the safety who's covering the tight end. So that's a lot of room to run on a 2nd and 6. Even if you don't get the first down, you're going to get close, right? Well, again, watch the safety come in, and I mean, it's a great tackle more than anything. I mean, that's just a really good tackle. That's PJ Locke who made the play. That's just really good stuff here by Denver. Obviously, for Tampa Bay, you want to be a little quicker, but I mean, this is just defensive backs making plays. Although going over here, listen, I can sit here and say good coverage, good coverage, good coverage all I want. At the end of the day, if you're going up against good coverage, you can't maximize issues. And that's what I saw from Mayfield in this game. And to be honest, I mean, this is part of what got Mayfield ran out of a couple of teams in the first place, was the fact that when things would go wrong, he would maximize issues. Everyone likes to talk about, oh, wow, Cleveland was so stupid letting him go. Carolina was stupid letting him go. But there were some issues. Granted, again, I think we've seen, like, Mayfield's a good quarterback, right? I'm not saying that they wouldn't love to have him now. Although the Panthers have Andy Dalton, who's apparently the best quarterback of all time all of a sudden. But, not saying that Cleveland wouldn't like to have Mayfield. Just saying there were some issues there, and it's going to show up on this play. It's a zone coverage concept. You see Evans is running a route that, again, there could be a window here. However, when Mayfield takes the snap, he's going to fire it in this direction, and it's really just not a throw he really should be making. I mean, there's not an opportunity for this to work, and there's a much bigger chance of this going poorly than going well, and you have to wonder how much of this was kind of getting off to a bit of a slow start, and now you're maximizing the issues. As you see, it gets intercepted. Not an ideal situation there by Mayfield, no doubt about it. It was almost a pick six, in fact. So just not a smart call there by Mayfield. Again, he is the kind of guy where he's a gunslinger. He's going to fit it through tight windows. A lot of times it works. You take the good with the bad, but there is going to be some bad there. And also a play like this, too, is another good example, I think, so it's going to be a designed play action here. Tampa Bay, just to set the stage, is down 13 points, but this is early on in the second half. If they can get like a touchdown here, all of a sudden, you're right back. This is the game again. Mayfield takes a snap, and there's immediate pressure. I mean, looking at this, he is starting to be in trouble. Is it fully fair for me to expect him to read that right away? I don't know. But you see, Mayfield kind of steps up into the pressure and just takes a sack right there. You would have loved to see him find a way to get rid of that football, right? Something that as we saw a couple times, which kind of resulted in these drives stalling, because now it's a 2nd and 17. Now you're playing catch up, and Denver's a tough team to do that with, and they were able to make some plays and make some good things happen. And then a play like this as well, where it's going to be a man coverage play. It's actually a pretty wild blitz by Denver. They're going to try to blitz up the middle here. As you see, that's what happens. Tampa Bay does what they can up the middle, but Mayfield does a good job, steps up, and has a chance right here. And again, this is going to kind of be good Denver Broncos defense more than anything. You see the Denver player I've circled in white is going to be unblocked right here. Mayfield's going to have to try and make a guy miss. And like, listen, I know you look at Mayfield and don't necessarily think he's like this elite athlete or anything, but we saw just last week against Detroit, one of the differences in that game was Mayfield making a guy miss to pick up a first down and then quickly after rushing for a touchdown. But here, Denver is able to make that open field tackle, and because of that, Mayfield not quite able to pick up the first down on this one. So as a whole, what is the overarching point? So that was the one bad game. It was a bad game by Tampa Bay pretty much all around, but what is the bigger picture here? Are we concerned about Mayfield moving forward at all? Are we concerned about this offense moving forward at all? And I think the answer has to be kinda. I mean, it was a bad game, right? And they're going up against a brutal stretch from this point forward, so dropping a game that was on paper winnable. And again, you got to give a lot of credit to the Denver defense, but still, on paper, winnable. It's a disappointing performance, and I do wonder how many of these issues are going to continue to arise as they go up against good teams. I do think it's fair to say not every team can do what Denver can do defensively. Even good teams can't do what Denver can do defensively. The reason why Denver struggled to start the year was their offense. Their defense has been playing great all year, but there still are things where like, if the Buccaneers are going to be a playoff team and be a legitimate threat in the NFC, which I still think is possible, they have to do a few things. One, I think their play calling just has to be a little bit more clever because Denver was all over it. And again, some of that's just the good coaching by Denver, but still, play calling has to be a little better. And I think that the decision making by Mayfield to limit damage has to be a little better. And bigger picture, I mean, just the reality is, if teams are playing cover 2 or quarters coverage and you still can't run the ball and you can't get guys open, you're just not going to win many football games. It's very rare to win a football game that way, and Tampa Bay wasn't able to do it here. So they gotta find ways to, beat it in one of those two ways. Either be able to get open against quarters coverage or really just kind of get the running game going a little bit more so they can get teams out of quarters coverage might be the better play. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.